trade only video. I'm Alex here, and I'm gonna today explain the runes, which a lot of people in my YouTube section has actually asked me about. And I always want to mention that they are always found in the description below of the video. I always upload there on every matchup, and I also mention what server it is, whether it's my main or not. So for those who are not familiar with the video, when I write TF only slash and there's another account, it means I'm playing on that account and not my main account, which is TF only, which I'm probably most known for. Well, not like well known, but known for amongst the people who actually watch me that are regulars. So let's dive into the runes because a lot of people have been asking me, and there should be an update since 8.1 when I first made a tier rune list. And yeah, let's get on to it. So the first page that I have shown is the Summoner Aery page, and I don't have this deselected because it means you have the option to choose between nullifying and mana flow band. And here you have the option to choose between cosmic and time warp, which I will go in a second. The point of Aery, if we go first, is to poke people in lane because you have it up more frequently than the Comet. And sure, it does less damage, but if you're actually proccing it more frequently, it out damage. But it also relies on your ability to trade efficiently and actually know how to dodge, when to trade, what to set up, and how to actually use and proc it efficiently. So usually what you do is you try to have the opponent come for a CS, or you try to hit in between with your Qs to proc it, and then if you ever chase or do longer exchanges with him, you can see the like Aery crawling towards you, right? And you can time your auto as you pick up the Aery for a final Aery proc. So usually it's like 2 procs minimum on a regular trade, or 3, and 3 or 2 procs should outscale the Arcane Comet proc, plus you can do it shortly after rather than waiting for the cooldown for the Comet itself, right? And that's the thought processing behind the Aery. Celerity and Gathering Storm are always a must. I like the late game insurance. I don't play or rely on Scorch to win because I think it's too low damage, and if you can't set up or trade efficiently with TF, it's better to have that late game insurance, as champions should be able to deal more damage than you, and it's always nice to have it just in case. And I actually love it way more than Scorch, and I don't rely on it when actually solo kill people off. The boots is way better than Stopwatch. They reduce the same cost. You usually get the 10 added movement speed on them, and this one only activates 10, whereas boots you can activate earlier. Here and on the secondary, if you run Sorcery and Inspiration, you get to choose between Cosmic Insight and Time Warp Tonic. If you choose Time Warp Tonic, you usually start Corruption Potion to actually buffer it because the changes made to Inspiration as while you select it. If you want to start Doran's Ring and you don't think you get as poked as often, and you can survive on 2 potions until you have a Catalyst or an Alright Buy, then you can go Cosmic Insight, as it will be more useful than the potion. But I like the potion because it sustains, and then it also gives the added 5% movement speed, because there's so many champions now that run Celerity, and it's just too much of a pain to chase them compared to other seasons where only TF and Rise would run the MS Quints, which aren't available now in this season. That's why the potion is also good. And usually I don't run Sork and Inspiration, but it's not just to give you an idea. I have a bunch of trees combination longer in the run, but these 3 are always selected in this rune, and then we're gonna go into Comet later on. But let's also discuss the Nullifying Orb versus the Mana Flow Band. If you're against AP or double AP, meaning like AP Jungler and an AP mid lane, so let's say they have a Zac Sejuani, well, Eve is even a better case to argue for it, right? And then they have a bursty mage, right? Like Syndra, and you see below like LeBlanc, Akali who gets level 6, a huge burst, Diana, Echo to trade better, Fizz to trade better, even perhaps Kassadin. then it's way better to play Nullify other than Mana Flow Band. I never play Hat because I think it's garbage and it reduces way too little, so you get more value out of the other two. Because TF sometimes runs from clearing the wave and setting up his gank and being really efficient, and sometimes it hurts his mana compared to other seasons, as you don't have the mana regeneration talent tree, which I usually played with 5 points, whereas other people usually played a split amongst that, so they at least had 1 point in it, and it would restore mana. So I like Mana Flow Band whenever I can take it, but if I'm facing a burstier mage or more than 1 AP, meaning an AP jungler as well, then Nullifying is really good, as you can stay alive with the Catalyst in combination when you get ganked. Now, let's look at what champions you can play Aery. Corki and LeBlanc you can trade more efficiently, as you can use the minion wave when they come forth. LeBlanc as well, when she doubles you into you and you stun and she's looking to stay for the chain, you can proc it more often, and then you can even chase her if you do a really good neat trade on her. And you can proc it way more often in these two matchups than Arcane Comet. It doesn't necessarily mean Arcane Comet is bad, but it's just to give you an idea or what champions I use Aery on. And these are the champions on the list, because I just checked it. I don't have Mordekaiser because Mordekaiser heals too much, but I have every other melee champion almost except these three. And it just to proc it more often in a melee matchup than you can in a ranged matchup, and taking advantage that you're a ranged hero and you should always proc or try to abuse them as much as possible if allowed to set up for a kill or for a jungler if you're actually looking to win lane rather than just AFK farming the lane, which I just think Aery is really good early on to get that small cheese going on and bursting them and kind of like nipping away at their threshold of their base HP. And these are the most common matchups I use it in, but I wouldn't use in most of these this tree, and I'm gonna mention that later on, so just relax guys. This is just a standard tree. I wouldn't really use this one with Aery Inspiration because I think it's bad, but I'm talking about all the tree possibilities so you guys can get comfortable. And this shouldn't be used if it's like maybe medium to low plat and below, because it's better to play Resolve in my opinion, which I will go in later. So let's move along to Arcane Comet, and actually this is gonna be really quick. I've explained that Celerity in Gathering Storm is a must, the Magical Footwear is a must. Then I explained why you should take Cosmic Insight versus the Potion earlier as well, which I have this explained earlier. The Potion has its benefits with the 5% movement speed and Dark Seal to basically remain almost unkillable, and you have a lot of sustain against Pokken lanes you struggle with, whereas Cosmic Sight gives that nice added little CDR bonus on several things. And I just explained the mana and nullifying too. Arcane Comet is basically whenever you don't play Aery, or if you don't like to play Aery, you play Arcane Comet. There's nothing more to it, that's just how it is. If you want to run Sorcery, that's the quickest definition, just take Comet. If you don't like or you're not comfortable playing Aery, or whenever you play Sorcery, just play Arcane Comet. I'm not gonna really go into detail why, but no, actually, like, there's nothing to go into detail. Like, if you don't know or like to use Aery versus the matchups that were shown above, you're played against another matchup and you like to have Sorcery and actually deal damage or something, then play Arcane Comet. There isn't really much to add. I can't really say anything else about it. So let's move along. Here I've left the Aery and Comet open, and these two open as well because they're still optional, and I explained it, which you should have gotten the gist for it so far, right? And here you see the resolve tree. So the resolve tree helps you survive versus Fizz versus Zed, and I love this versus Fizz because you get the nullifying, you get the bone plating, you get the early Chrysalis, you get the Aery to actually try and poke him and win the lane and kill him pre-6, and then you get also some added HP to end the Doran's Ring because you're not playing the Corruption Potion. So you can actually set up to kill Fizz if he's really bad. So I love this tree to play Aery and Nullifying with the rest of the settings against Fizz. Like it's really fucking good. You can also do this against Diana. You can do it versus Aurelian Soul. You can do it versus Echo. And Katarina. I would say Echo and Katarina are pretty much closer to use this. Echo is by far, I would say, the worst matchup because he actually bursts a bit more efficient than the Katarina, which you can dance on the blades, use the minions more efficiently, and Fizz as well. But I love to take Aery and Nullifying with the resolve against Echo, Kata, Fizz. Like, it's honestly really fun to play, and you actually can set up kills pre-6. As for the melee matchups, or melee or AD matchups I mentioned above, you just take Mana Flow Band, you can take Aery, you can take Arcane Comet, and then you play this to survive so you don't get bursted, because we all know how much a Talon can burst, or a Zed gets his nice little burst at level 4, and the traits can get close or really horrendous for you. So it's, if you want to play Sorcery, then you can play Resolve if you're not sure about winning or trading efficiently without having some resistances. So I think this is the best Sorcery / Resolve combination. I don't really like Sorcery and Inspiration anymore, but I just had those up there if you guys actually prefer them, and went into detail as to why you can take or play them. But this is much the preferred Sorcery / Resolve. And the Bone Plating and Chrysalis, they're just too good. Like, they are too good. Like 60 HP early on, and then you get the AP later when you don't need the HP anymore to deal damage. Like, it's just too juicy to pass up, and then you also get health from the tree itself. Now let's go into one of the most standard pages, and I know a lot of TFs don't like Inspiration because, wow, you're not dealing damage, but you're not supposed to deal damage, to be honest. Like, TF is not designed in that kind of manner, but you can still do a lot of damage because TF has actually high base damage, in my opinion. And you don't need to have Sorcery or Gathering Storm, because Gathering Storm only becomes good at level... No, I mean minute 30, not level. Sorry, guys. It only becomes good when it has gone 30 minutes or like 40 minutes, in my opinion, and it's a late game insurance thing. You don't need the celerity, and then you have the safety option. I know Unsealed Spellbook has changed, and I'll talk about it in a second. The Resolve tree, and then you get way more HP, so you're even safer in lane. You can still do the Corrupting Potion with the 5% movement speed to make up for the celerity, which is 3% to chug it down, and build Dark Seal with Catalyst and literally become unfucking killable in lane, unless you're really bad. And sorry, that's the truth. If you actually die lane with flash up to a gank with this, there's something wrong, dude. You did something wrong, or you flashed too late. So flash early and save a lot of HP if you're not sure if you can actually tank them. Just a friendly tip. Now the minion DMAT is really good to shove with, which you all know. I don't like to use it on ranged. I like to use it on cannons to get momentum going and shoving out and finding efficient ways to prolong the laning phase, to have my opponent being stuck with a lesser buy if I bought before him and he hasn't recalled yet, or shove out for a efficient roam if there's a cannon minion. So I use it a lot on cannon minions, which people normally might not agree, but that's the way I use it. If you guys want to get a hint, then the magical footwear and resolve shouldn't be a huge surprise, and this I've already explained. Which one you choose, it's optional. I've been trying lately because I've seen Dopa do this tree with the Cosmic Insight, then you get the added 60 HP and mana regen, which you lack, instead of this one. So you have 60 more HP and mana, and then you also have 15 AP, which you lack with this tree. So it's a good combination whenever you don't think you're gonna face like a Seraph, Lux, maybe Syndra, and you don't think you're gonna get poked a lot and you're gonna dodge a lot of stuff out. Then it's better to go Cosmic and Doran's Ring with this tree. and just enjoy farming and having a really strong laning phase. Whereas if you think you're gonna get poked, get that potion, and recall whenever you have 750 gold added, which should be at level 4, and then you get the ruby crystal, you get the dark seal, and you become really hard to kill and deal with lane until 6 when you get catalyst later on, and you're gonna have a smooth transition into rod and getting the magical footwear at the same time with both the potion and dark seal on it. And that's the gist of this build. I think it's really strong. It's the most standard one, it's the most safe one. You don't have late game insurance, unfortunately, but you have enough damage the pre 30 minutes, and you hit a sweet spot at 20 minutes when you have both Rod and Lishbane, to be honest, to take over the game and get your team ahead or set up things. And then later on you actually get RFC, so you set up the game like you're not damage reliant. It's more how you play and how you use your ability or intellect or intellectual self to actually set up things. Or that's how I think about it. Okay, and now let's talk about the new inspiration, because a lot of people don't like it, but listen guys, I think it's really unique and good. You can select Ghost or TP when you don't have Flash up and you have one of the other summoners. When you're having Ignite down, you can select Heal, you can select Ghost, you can select Barrier, you can select TP to go back to lane, you can select Flash plus Ghost. Like, there's so many combinations. It's so fucking good early on, I think. Or later. Like, I've killed a Talon who think he could kill me in late game, and I had Exhaust and Ignite. Like, because the Flash has a really long fucking cooldown, if we're gonna be honest here. And I switched it, so I had actually a defensive summoner and an aggressive summoner. And the sweet combo there was just really good. And whenever you don't have Flash up, you can go Barrier, you can go Exhaust, you can go Heal, you can go Ghost to save yourself. If you don't have Ignite up, you can use another defensive spell to help up the team, build up that utility spell you want. And there's just a lot of combinations you can use it. And those who don't know how it functions, I'm just gonna explain briefly. After the game starts, where you hear minions have spawned, you have 6 minutes until you get a token, and then you switch one of your abilities. Usually, the best case is when you want to TP in lane, if both summoners are up. If you have a long cooldown until one of your summoners are back up, you can switch it to one of the variants I said, or that are available that you find suitable for the situation itself. And after that, after the initial first token, you get minus 15 seconds for each token, and it's gonna be on a 4-minute cooldown. So as the game go on, you have them more frequently, and you can do so many fucking combinations that are so good with this. Like, I love the new Unsealed Spellbook and this talent tree, because makes TF kind of like more of a trickster, and you can actually use different and clever setups for it, which I just find really interesting and innovative. So just be smart how you use them and adapt to your situation. It's a really good thing for TF. People missed the old one for the cooldown on the Flash and Ignite. I agree, it was really good. But this one has its strength too, so use them good and it will become a good weapon for you. And now we go into Inspiration Sorcery. If you think you can survive and you don't need the HP and you want late game scaling, this is the tree for you. But don't play it against assassins. Don't play it when they have a Rengar, when they have a Kayn or something like that. Like, play it if they have, let's say, a Shinzao and you're facing a Vladimir, because Vladimir is gonna have late game insurance as well. He's still gonna burst you through the resolve, so it doesn't matter. And you're gonna start scaling and look to kill his team before he actually kills yours. So it gives you an idea what kind of champions you want to avoid. So avoid assassin top and junglers when you run this, because you're not gonna have the HP. And do it versus laners you can scale and allow yourself to scale as well. You can do it against Syndra if you want, like your relative safe once you have Catalyst and Mercs against her. You can do it against Lux, you can do it against Vlad, you can do it against Vel'Koz to have the celerity and dodge out. Just be clever when you use it and don't take too much poke because you don't have the added defensives up here. And Cosmic Insight and Time Warp I've already explained, and yeah, I explained why you should take Inspiration Sorcery. Oh yeah, why you should take Inspiration and Sorcery swapped, so you don't have the Arcane Comet or Aery, and you have the Unsealed. It's also good to have the minion DMAT against Anivia, so you can shove her out early levels and waste her mana to not trade you. And then you can also use it to burn her mana on waves where she basically melts your wave at 6. And then you have the Unsealed Spellbook to run Cleanse, to run Ghost, to run Heal, or anything. So I think this is a good tree versus Anivia, versus Vlad, versus other things. And you still have the late game insurance, but you don't have as much damage from the Arcane Comet or the Nullifying or mana flow band. But I think this is a pretty good key if you don't think you're gonna kill the opponent or want to do massive damage and you want to have more utility or lane options with the minion DMAT. Now finally to the builds. People probably ask me, what the hell are you thinking, Alex? I got masters running this last year, but it was with Thunderlords, and this is for Hextech Gunblade. And yes, you heard me correctly, Hextech Gunblade TF. And the build is pretty simple. If you go into the build first, you go Hextech Gunblade, then you go Sorks or Rush Lishbane. Once you have that, you one-shot anyone in their team. You even one-shot them when you have Sork and Hextech because it just does so much damage onto squishy targets. Their ADCs will fucking cry and write that you're unbalanced or some dumb shit. And I tested this out because people were running Hextech and Lishbane on Aery and LeBlanc, and it had high damage with Thunderlord, and I thought, TF has attack speed off his E, he uses autos way more frequently than these two champs, so it might be good. And I tried, and it was actually insanely fun and really good in multiple or various situations last season. And you had better runes to survive. So this is a legit glass cannon build this season. It's worse than previous season, but it can still function. And it's up to you if you want to try it or get comfortable with it, but it does a lot of damage. Your third item are gonna be RFC or Rabadon, and then you're gonna go Rabadon or RFC, and then the final item will be Ludens Echo or Zania. You can even go Banshees Veil, which I forgot to mention, but it's usually a filler item, situational, the last one. This build needs RFC and Rabadon because RFC you get enough damage to burst them, and you need the setup. And once you have the setup, you can gain the range to one-shot them with the Gunblade because the Gunblade does extremely fucking high damage on it. I think it's like 250 or 300 without the added AP and AD onto the proc itself. So just like the raw damage without the added stats. So it does a tremendous damage, but it's a hybrid build, which is kind of interesting. And then you might ask, so why wouldn't you run this if it has high damage? Well, there are a lot of things in the game that can absorb you or kill you, unfortunately. And against Sivir or Morgana, this build is fine. Against Nocturne, enjoy dying, dude. And this is now how I'm gonna say why the build sucks in some situations and why it's good in some situations. Boots always Sork boots, which I already mentioned. And the best matchups I think are squishy comps. They have like Aery, they have Tali, they have Lux, they have Vel'Koz, they have something you can actually survive lane against. Orianna is okay, but then you're gonna play on clearing the wave, get the hell out, clear the wave, get the hell out, because you're one shot for her. Like if she hits ult on you, you're dead. Or you're almost dead. Like there's no way you're gonna survive against multiple comps. Don't run this against melee assassins. So Talon, Zed, Yasuo. No, this build sucks against these champs. you will die. Against Fizz, you will die. They have an assassin top or a jungle, you most likely will fucking die. Like, this build is not designed to play against assassins because you become a target. Like, look, how late am I going? Zonya, lost item. You're a free kill every team fight. So this build, you need really good decision making, you really need high dodge mechanics, and you need to know how to play the champion, not to play it for fun and say, hey, I actually one-shot a guy, I'm so good at the game, I stunned him, I Q'd him, I pressed Gunblade, and boom, the electrocute Puck, he fucking vanished. Yeah, dude, like, there are a lot of champions that can do those things, so don't feel special because you're actually abusing a build and high damage runes. So against Aery, I think it's good no matter if she plays Cleanse or Ignite. Same for Tali if she plays Cleanse or Heal, because you can actually burst them through it. So your card doesn't matter, only your Q and Hextech proc. And as soon as they cleanse, that's when you ignite them. So this build usually one-shot these two champs, and that's when I usually run it. I always run it against Aery if the enemy team doesn't have an assassin. The only champion you can maybe run it against that is an assassin is Kha'Zix or Kayn. Kha'Zix is because you can actually hunt him yourself. You ult, you one-shot the guy. Kayn is if you have flash, if you know where he's coming from, he basically needs to flash engage you to get onto you or smite you and then ult you and hope to one-shot you. So if it's on your team as well, if the Kayn is allowed to do that or if he's actually fed enough to one-shot you. But I think against these two assassins, this build is fine. Against other like Rengar, you're gonna die. And Nocturne as well, because you're free. Well, this concludes the room page. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I now see it actually took me like 27 minutes to explain. If you have any questions about something being unclear or not, you can always, comment in below. I always reply to every replay, and if you like the video, you can always press like and show that support to my channel, as it will help out. It will help me out a lot, I mean. And I'm actually thinking of planning to write an extensive TF guide, but that's only when I hit 1,000 subs, because I got some things going on in my real life, and I thought it would be a neat present for you guys if you guys would enjoy an extensive, in-depth TF guide. As if you guys haven't seen me stream, my streams are, oh, it's actually that way because I'm now watching my camera. It's actually up there, TF only West on Twitch. There's my Twitter I actually don't use, but in case I actually ever get popular or huge. And then my new channel on YouTube, because I changed the URL to TF only, but since I wasn't allowed to change it from a few months, and I actually changed it to Alex Frost TF only, which was kind of dumb and long. So yeah, now it's just TF only. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in live sessions, or I'll upload more TF vids you guys can enjoy. And I hope you guys just enjoyed it overall. And I'll see you guys around on both YouTube and Twitch. And also, a last thing to mention is, hang on, I just need to think because I actually lost myself. Why some people has also asked me why I upload just replays and not cut them like Red Mercy or other streamers do. It's because you miss things TF does, and it's also easier because, as you guys can see, I suck at editing. So if you guys want to help me out to edit some cool stuff until I grow free, and then I can actually make a contract for you depending on the revenues and stuff, then feel free to contact me and help me out to grow the channel. It would mean a lot to me. And yeah, that's everything for this video. So again, for the third time, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys around. Love you guys. Bye.